Hi, my name is Sarah Gargel, and I work with Living Archives Project, which is a 3-year initiative of collecting stories of how certain groups in Mecklenburg County were impacted by COVID-19. Today is September 20th, 2022, and this week there were 282 reported cases of COVID-19 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, which shows a 7% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, each subject is comfortable not wearing a mask today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to introduce myself. My name is Tori Pritchett. I am a first-year graduate student for the Masters of Social Work program at Johnson C. Smith University.
Great, thank you so much, Tori. We are so excited to have you here today. Before we started recording, we did this little activity. Can you share about your experience? How did you feel doing the hand map? And was there anything that you learned about yourself?
I definitely learned a lot about myself. As described, when it came to things that would describe me, I'm a student. I became a aunt over COVID. I am a hard worker. I worked the entire time. I was considered an essential worker at one point. I definitely realized that I had a lot of support from people I didn't even realize until I did the hand map. Should I describe?
Yes, if you would like to.
Okay, so I'd say I had support from my professors because even though I did have to leave from school, I was still able to reach out to them as well over the summer and then going back into school transition. So I had a lot of support from my professors. My church, I definitely had a lot of support from my church. Even though we had to transition to Zoom, that was a big difference, but they still supported us, whether it was a phone call, them coming outside of our house and, still speaking to us that way, but just, little check-ins, things like that. Along with my softball team, they were definitely a support system for me too, and my managers. So that's kind of what I got out of it, as well as my support system. What I also noticed when it came to how I felt or how I would feel about my experience during COVID, I felt a lot of love, and I would say that because during that time I was around family, but I also felt still, and I would say that because when we had to stay in and, we had, what was it called, curfew hours and things like that, at one point when we really couldn't be outside, I just felt like everything was still, if that makes sense, like the air, I don't know, it's like, it was really a different environment. I can't explain it. It felt like a different world.
Yeah.
Really.
I know what you mean. I feel like I experienced that too, the stillness and just, I think everybody had to slow down in that season.
Definitely. So that's what I would say. I had to definitely continue my journey with college and then life after college as well. It wasn't too hard transitioning. It was just a simple fact of when it was going into my senior year, like, what's next? I was thinking about the military, but I was like, okay, I kind of want to get my master's too, but how am I going to do this? So I was thinking ahead, so it wasn't too challenging, but I did kind of get overwhelmed, especially with how the world was at the time and still is. It's just like, what are the precautions if I do go this route or go another route? But that's pretty much it. I got a new car, and then I gained a niece and another niece.
That's so exciting.
And a nephew.
Wow, 2 nieces and a nephew?
Yes.
That's amazing. I love that.
Definitely.
So during the initial onset of COVID and the initial pandemic and kind of like the lockdown, You were a college student at that time?
Yes, and I was a softball player at that time.
Wow. So what school did you go to?
Johnson C. Smith.
Johnson C. Smith University.
Yes.
Great. And what were you studying?
I was studying psychology.
Psychology.
Yes, and I minored in health.
Oh, wow. So that is a very interesting degree to be studying, especially during the pandemic.
Yes.
Wow, I can't imagine. During that time, did school kind of shut down, or what did that feel like? What was your experience like, I guess?
My experience for it, or during that time, school definitely shut down. I would say around mid-April.
Okay.
And then around that time as well, the softball season was just starting up. So we got one tournament in, and then we played 2 conference games. And then that following day, we got that text message from our coaches saying that, they're going to shut us down. We're getting sent back home.
Wow.
And I think we had maybe a week to kind of get, prepared to see what we would do. So I would definitely say it was kind of like drastic. Like I couldn't really believe it. And it's like I cherished that moment because I knew I'd be going back home, which is about 2 hours from Charlotte. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to see the team anymore, my friends.
Yeah.
So it was funny. During that time, we kind of did things we wouldn't naturally do. We went on walks to the park. It's a park not too far from where I was staying. And it's like we kind of enjoyed nature along with, each other too. So it was like we were kind of finding different things about ourselves, because it's like with the school shutting down, certain places, closing and things like that. It's like we got to step outside. Well, for me, I'm a nature girl, but my friends, we had to step outside our comfort zone and things like that and do things we wouldn't normally do. So it was fun. It was definitely fun.
Wow, your experience is definitely a little different than some others who I've spoken to, because they were a little overwhelmed when their classes went from completely in person to completely virtual. How did you feel during that time with the virtual classes? Did you feel overwhelmed, or was it kind of just a natural transition for you?
For me, I would say, because I look at life like you have to be willing to adapt. I've had to adapt all my life. So I would say it was a natural transition. It was different for my professors, I would definitely say, just because, getting used to using technology.
Yeah.
It was not even a societal norm at that time. It's like we used it, but not as much. It's like we really had to rely on it. So that was the biggest difference. The professors using technology, not having that one-on-one communication with your professors. So it's like normally you would get a response back within 24 to 48 hours, but it's just like with everything happening, it may be a little longer. That would be the cons of it. The pros, I would say the professors, they were definitely willing to work with us. They were understanding. They gave out surveys before we started class, to see how our internet connection was, where were we at mentally and things like that. If we didn't have internet, did you have a place to go, possibly like a library, or, did you have the technology? Because I feel like a lot of that was overlooked during that time. It's like we're back home now. The resources, some people didn't really have the access to it. And things like that. So it was a big change, but I definitely adapted quick. I found myself, I'm like, oh my goodness, this internet is not going to work. Like, I'm like, we're going to have to go up a speed.
Oh man, I think so many people were in the same boat, because so many people are using the internet.
Definitely.
It was flooded with usage.
Definitely.
Wow. So, and that was during the pandemic, was your senior year of college, or was that during your junior year?
It was during my junior year.
Okay.
So
your junior year predominantly was virtual, is that correct?
Yes, it
and
was.
You had to move back home. You couldn't stay in the Charlotte area where your university was located.
No, I had to move back home. And we were virtual that whole year. I thought we were going to come back.
Okay.
But we didn't. We ended up, we stayed home So that gave me time. I found a remote job. So I was able to be in between classes and working and stuff like that. So it was fun.
Yeah, what kind of remote job did you find?
So I was a Apple technical support advisor, and I got promoted pretty quickly. I began to get trained first with iOS, so like things or devices like iPhones, iPads. Then I went up, I became certified as a Mac advisor too, so different type of Mac computers. It's actually a computer that looks like a cheese grater.
Really?
It is. Definitely.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yes, but it was definitely fun, I would say.
Well, I bet you've learned a lot of really great skills, at least if you're an iPhone user.
Yes.
I bet that came in handy.
A lot.
Do you still do that now, or have you taken a step back and focused more on school?
I took a step back just because this master's program is not a joke. So it's like I had to really sit down and think like, okay, what am I going to do? What can I do? And I was just thinking like, this isn't going to work with my school schedule and, my intern and things like that. So I decided to step back from Apple. I had to resign, and I picked up another job that's going to work with my schedule.
Okay. Where do you work now?
I work at FedEx.
Oh, so you deliver packages?
No, I pack the trucks. So.
Okay.
It's a lot. It is a lot. This job is not for the weak, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I bet. Are the boxes kind of heavy sometimes?
They're heavy, and on top of that, so I am 4'11". So you have some boxes that are way taller than
way
me.
bigger than you. Oh my gosh.
Yes, but I look at it as my workout, so I'm benefiting from it for sure.
That's awesome. At least you have a really great outlook on it. And you are benefiting. You're getting those core muscles, Tori. You're building those muscles up.
Definitely.
That's awesome. How has the balance been for you with work and your master's program? Has it been a bit of a challenge, or do you find?
I would say it definitely has been challenging. But what I realized, I said, okay, what can I do? And with me learning throughout this program, self-care is a big thing. It's very big. So once I got the hang of, balancing my schedule, going to work, and then going to my intern, and I'm also a graduate assistant as well. So once I got the hang of, knowing my schedule and balancing that out, now it's just fitting in self-care. I'm actually trying to add more onto my schedule. Would you believe it?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You are a busy little bee.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm going to just backtrack just a little bit and ask you, because I'm so curious, what was your experience like going from virtual school your junior year, and then did you go back to in-person classes your senior year at JCSU, or was it a slow transition?
We did. We were, actually, I'm trying to see now. I have to think. So give me a moment.
Oh, please take your time.
Because I want to see, were we virtual a little from time to time? It was kind of hybrid. So some classes were online, and then some classes we were actually in person. They would kind of switch it. We would do it one week. The blue cohort, they were in class, and next week the gold cohort, they were in class. So we would, switch. That's how we did it. I had to think about that. But it was, and then I want to say that following semester, some professors, they stayed along the lines of it. And then some professors, we were fully back in class. So it was a difference transitioning, because it's like you're walking around on campus, you're seeing everybody with masks. And then you see some people without masks too. Just taking that extra caution. But yeah, it was a slow transition back to the normal.
Were you able to start softball your senior year again, or?
I was, and we began practicing in the fall. A lot of things changed a lot, especially when it came to like the NCAA rules, and things like that. It's too many to even go over, but even well, I would say one. So for instance, at first we were going to have to play with our mask on, and then they kind of changed it, and then they gave us breaks as well, too. So that was a big difference. But we started practicing in the fall, and we couldn't start out. So normally on a softball field, it's 9 players. So at first, like practicing, it couldn't be a full 9 players. Like we had to gradually work up to that. Like workouts, yes, but being on the field, it was different. We couldn't start with a full team. So that was even a slow roller too, getting back into the gist of things. And then now that I think about it, just with being out for a full year, my body had changed. The muscles that I use daily and things like that, I wasn't using them daily anymore. I was one of those ones, I didn't continue working out as much as I did. I did here and there, but I didn't have a routine. So that was a big difference. But I did play for second semester of my senior year in the spring. And I would say it was one of my best seasons.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's amazing. Even though you had a little bit of a harder transition with your body muscles and getting back into the rhythm. That's amazing that it was your best season yet.
Yes, my best season. One of the biggest things, of course, being a leader is big to me on and off the field, but I hit 2 home runs out of the park.
That's amazing, Tori. Maybe that little break kind of just gave you some time to relax and get back into the field.
Definitely.
2 home runs. Wow. That's an incredible. Wow. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I've never hit a home run, but I've never tried. So, okay. So in terms of your life now, how have you seen your personal experience with COVID-19? How has that impacted your life? For the better, for the worse, or just...
I would definitely say I was impacted. My personal experience, it was in a good way. It made me cherish the things that I didn't cherish before. And I got to spend more quality time with my family.
Yeah.
So that would be something, not to say I didn't cherish it, but it's just like being able to spend that much time with them, knowing that normally I'd be away at college.
Yeah.
It was fun. My dad, even though we're already close, it's like every day, we wake up, go to the gas station, get coffee. We developed, routines and things like that. So I got to spend a lot of time with him. I got to be there with my brother and his girlfriend while she was pregnant. So it's like I got to experience that, help him out when the baby got here and things like that. So it's like that sense of family, like, yeah, I really, it was big. It was a big moment. Like, normally, how you feel around Thanksgiving or Christmas. It was like, that's what I felt the entire time.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes, I gained a lot in that way, I guess, in that sense.
That quality time aspect.
Definitely. I enjoyed it.
Which, when you look back, is really precious, right?
Yes, definitely. I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, when are you coming home? I said, I think I'm coming home for Thanksgiving. He was like, oh, he said, well, if you don't know, he said, well, I'll tell you one thing, I'm coming up there. He was like, because you've been gone for too long. So it's like he kind of got used to me being home.
Yeah, he misses you.
Definitely.
I mean, who wouldn't? No, I'm glad to hear that, Tori. I think when you have that time to just be still and focus on those around you, because you were in isolation, at least for part of it, it's beautiful to see how your relationships can grow and flourish.
Definitely.
And you just become a little more grateful for the simpler things.
and that was my take on it, because I know during that time a lot of people they lost their loved ones, and it's like I still think that kind of drew people closer, because it's like during that moment where everybody's grieving and stuff like that, you need somebody to lean on. So it's like that's how I felt, aside from losing loved ones, but like, you know, I was able to lean on my family and stuff. It's like we went through things together. So it's like family, like it was teamwork, I guess you would say.
Oh, that's so sweet. And so at home it was you and your brother and your parents?
So no, it was me and my parents, and then I would go when I had time. That was my way to get out too, because I'm working from home.
Yeah.
So I'd go to my brother's apartment and then make sure, you know, he's together, keeping his girlfriend company, because she did take off. So, you know, just making sure she's okay, being supportive at appointments and stuff like that, because that was even different, you know. Couldn't have a lot of people in, you know, only one person. Even while she gave birth, only one person could be in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big difference too.
Yeah, I from what I understood, some states didn't even allow anybody in.
Mm-hmm.
And so here in North Carolina, they allowed one person in the room when she gave birth.
Yes.
Wow.
Definitely.
Even that experience alone, you know, has been intense.
Oh yeah, because it's like, okay, I get it, one person, but it's like, I want, if that is after my mom, my dad, you know, or at least the people that I want in the room to, you know, spend that moment with me. So that was definitely different, but she took it well. I wasn't even able to go, because it was like between her family and then my brother and stuff like it would have been too many, but yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I can imagine. When did you get to see your niece for the first time?
I would say maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks. Because I wanted to give them some time as well, and, you know, have her get situated and stuff like that. So I'd say I waited about 2 weeks.
Okay. But I bet when you got to see her, that was just a really beautiful moment.
Definitely. I want to say I didn't cry. I almost did. But it was a bittersweet moment. It's like I can remember it vividly now as we're speaking.
Yeah.
So
is this your first niece?
That would be my first niece. Yes.
Wow.
And now I call her my twin, because I'm like, we look just alike.
Oh, how sweet. Oh, that melts my heart. That's awesome. I bet you're an incredible auntie.
Yes, definitely.
So now that you are, you know, in your master's program, and if I remember correctly, you're still at JCSU?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And do you get to play sports, softball, or have you kind of taken a step back?
I took a step back from softball, because it was no way it would fit in my schedule. So I had to turn down my scholarship.
Oh.
But I feel like I did what was best for me. It's like I closed that chapter.
Yeah.
In life. So if I do anything when it comes to softball, maybe I may play again next year, because I still have that open opportunity. Okay. But I think what will be next will be, I'll probably be a coach.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes. So that
kind of get back. That's
definitely.
Amazing. So did you also have a scholarship for softball during your undergrad?
Yes.
So how did that work, if you don't mind sharing? How did that work? Did you keep, during COVID, like, did you keep the scholarship? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they still gave it to you even though you weren't playing?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay. That's incredible.
Definitely. Now with, I would say other sports, some sports, they kind of reduced it.
Okay.
It definitely depended on, I'd say with us being back home, like you don't have to pay for housing. So things got, you know, reduced and stuff like that. They kind of weighed it out.
Okay. They kind of just reevaluated it.
Definitely.
But wow, that's amazing that you were able to still retain your scholarship.
Yes, definitely.
And were you able to kind of connect with your teammates and your classmates from college during that time of going home, or was everything kind of put on break? Was everyone doing their own thing?
Well, with me, with the role that I kind of held, I say team leader, captain, I kind of still connected with them because, it was a tough time. And, I know my teammates for sure. So I definitely made it a point, to check in with them, see how they were doing, and just to make sure their mental was in a good place and stuff like that. Like, are you still wanting to continue school? How are you feeling? Is softball something you're still considering? Are you working out? That was my check-in. That's how I was checking in with them and things like that. But I was definitely able to communicate with them still. And what I also took into consideration doing was creating team bonding ideas.
Okay.
So I'll conduct a Zoom meeting, get their ideas and see, for the upcoming season, which would be my senior year, or would have been my senior year, what we would do.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I did, and they were pretty strong, I would say.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're able to connect through Zoom or online, whatever program you use, and keep in touch with the whole team? Wow.
Definitely. Because it's just like I wanted, to make sure. And I think that's why we were able to have a good season. Just because it's the simple things, keeping that chemistry, flowing.
Yeah.
And bonding and things like that. But yeah, it was times I would, have Zoom meetings and things like that.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Round of applause to you, Tori, for keeping that spirit alive.
Definitely. Also group FaceTime. We did that too.
How cool.
Yes, that was a feature design.
Did you use any of those funny emojis or faces?
Definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely. And I think that was a feature design for the iPhones during COVID too.
Yeah,
for
I think so.
families to connect with family or friends.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I did use that feature.
Oh, that's awesome. And I bet with your Apple skills, you were able to help anyone if they had any technical issues.
Yes, I would get off work and still be at work.
You'd still be working.
Definitely.
You're the go-to. Hey, Tori.
I'm like, no, I clocked out like an hour ago.
Oh, man. You got to put up those healthy boundaries.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, man. That's awesome. So, in terms of your life, the last 2 to 3 years with experiencing the pandemic and all the transitions in your life with college and softball and work and going virtual and all the stuff and the family time, how has your experience shaped you as a person?
How did it shape me as a person? That's a good question. I would definitely say I became well-rounded, so it shaped me. It made me a better person. I was well-rounded, and I would say that because I was able to give back to the community. Like I said, spending time with my family, that was good too. But just in that aspect too, that did something for me. Because it's just like, okay, I know I'm going through things, but it's like I also want to, give back and help the community in any way. So I sold PPE. Well, not sold, but we passed out PPE kits that had a mask, sanitizer, gloves, wipes, things in it like that. So like I said, that made me well-rounded. I was able to join the Kiwanis organization to gather books. That was an event that we did. Gentle Use books, gave back to the communities back home and things like that. So I feel like that kind of shaped me, like I said, in the well-rounded aspect, to kind of make me step out a little more and get involved. Because it's like, I'm not the only one who's going through this. And it's like I kind of want to make a difference in the community.
Well, that's amazing. So these PPE kits were like health hygiene kits in a way?
During that time, yes, but it was more so safety too.
Okay.
Because of course, with COVID, you taking the extra precautions, so making sure you wash your hands with the kids, sanitized if you weren't able to access water and soap and things like that. Some people didn't want to touch doors, or when they go in the grocery store, touch certain items with their physical hands. So, use the gloves and then just wiping things down. So it's just during that time, I think, people had to develop better, how would I say it? Help me out here, Sarah. How would I say?
Better health habits?
Better health habits. And cleanliness. Oh, okay, there we go. Knocking on wood.
Better cleanliness habits, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And this was all part of an organization, or you just did this on your own?
So, and that's with my hand map. As I say, the support system from my managers. So, they actually, they founded that, what do I call it? Or would it be considered an organization? It's something that they developed, a business.
During this time?
Yes, during this time.
To kind of meet the needs of the community.
Yes, definitely. So that's what we did. My managers, they are the CEO of Megaplay. So it's a kids facility, an indoor park.
Oh, okay.
So they did that, and I kind of, got with them and helped.
Supported them. So you weren't necessarily working, but volunteering?
Yes, volunteering.
Okay. You're volunteering. That's amazing.
Definitely. Even with Kiwanis. And then I became a member after, being involved with the community and stuff like that. I said, okay, this is something I want to continue doing.
Yeah.
And things like that. So.
And can you tell me a little bit, what is Kiwanis?
So Kiwanis organization, it is a, is it nonprofit? I gotta think about it too. It's an organization. Okay. I want to say it is nonprofit. It's a nonprofit organization where our target is to help each child in a community, one community at a time. So pretty much what we do, we kind of give back to the Cumberland County surrounding areas. So that's close to Fayetteville.
Okay.
And our aim is to pretty much help the children. It's different kind of branches, but that will be our goal. Like our target population will be the kids in the Cumberland County surrounding areas. Yeah. Stuff like that.
It's amazing. And you got involved with that during the whole COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes.
Wow. And are you still involved with them today?
Definitely. So I became the social media coordinator for the organization, and because I was just like, we have to do something. I want to capture this moment. So that's what I began to do. I would, upload pictures of the events that we did, let them know when we're having meetings and things like that. But just to keep, everyone updated, the community and stuff like that, so they'll know what's going on.
Amazing.
And get everybody involved, get the community involved.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So I guess, I want to honor your time. Do you have any additional stories or experiences that you want to share about your experience with COVID-19 before we come to a close?
No, I think I've kind of touched on everything, I would say.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Tori. I'm going to finish up the interview.
Thank you.